Today we're talking about badass women in history, specifically Sutematsu Oyama, the first Japanese woman to go to college. Her birth name was Sakeko Yamakawa, and she was only 8 years old when troops came for her town. As a samurai of Japan's Aizu clan, her family were on the losing side of a civil war that would end in the Age of the Sword. The last stand came when enemy forces closed in on Aizu Castle. Behind those walls, Sakeko ran ammunition to the gunners. She ran empty shells to the storehouse, and when artillery fire landed nearby, she smothered the shells with wet quilts to prevent explosions. Sakeko's sister-in-law was running to a shell when it burst. The majority of shrapnel hit her in the chest, with a rogue piece slicing Sakeko in the neck. This did not kill her sister-in-law immediately, though. As she laid there bleeding, her sister yelled for Sakeko's mother to give her an honorable death. But Sakeko's mother could not bear to do it, so Sakeko had to watch her die slowly in the open. She had to say goodbye from afar. Sakeko's neck would bear that shrapnel scar until the end of her days. After the war, the Japanese government ended its centuries of isolation, humbled by foreigners who'd forced their ports open at gunpoint. The Japanese viewed learning from the barbarians as a matter of survival. They offered a large sum for volunteers willing to go abroad for 10 years. They had almost no applicants until Sakeko's brother signed her up to go to America. The last time Sakeko saw her mother, she was given a new name, Sutematsu. It was an odd, sorrowful name, combining the character for discard and the name of the defeated Lord of Aizu. Her whole life was over. 5 young girls were selected to come to the U.S. to learn American culture, and then returned to Japan to help the isolated Japanese kingdom progress to a culture that would have credibility in the civilized world. The 2 eldest girls returned to Japan, and the 3 other girls were sent to foster homes. Sutematsu's foster family could not pronounce her name, so they referred to her as Stamats. Despite this, she was welcomed in and soon sent off to public school. She had a bumpy start, but despite that, she excelled. Not only did she excel and get top grades in high school, she was also the only girl in her class to go to college. She went to Vassar, which had only been open for a little over a decade, and she became class valedictorian. At the time, she was the most educated Japanese woman alive. Can you imagine that? After over a decade away from her native land, she headed back to Japan to live with a family with whom she could barely speak a common language, and she spent her formative years in another country. When she was asked how she felt to return, she replied, "I cannot tell you how I feel, but I should like to give one good scream." Great quote, by the way. The political winds in Japan had shifted. They once desired modernization, but now there was conservative backlash in its place. She was an alien in her own country, so she set out to change her country. She and the other 2 girls sent abroad, Shigenum, began spending more time together. They pursued a common goal, opening a school for girls. But they needed funding and social standing, and it came from the place she least expected. From the person she least expected. His name was Iwo Oyama. He was high up in the army, in which he had served many years. He had been at the Battle of Aizu, on the opposing side. He asked for her hand in marriage, and her family obviously said no immediately, but she had thought about it. She had been back for years, and isolation had worn her down. She wanted to do more, and Iwo afforded that. She didn't love him, but what was her life but a series of sacrifices for her country? In the end, she said yes. Her name was now Sutematsu Oyama. With the Empress's patronage, she started the Peeresses School, which taught noblewomen. It was a start. She brought on Ume as one of the teachers and her foster sister from America as another. As her profile grew, so did the gossip. Her successes came with a trade-off of more isolation. The higher she rose, the less directly she could work on teaching or seeing her friends Ume and Shig. She was even given the title princess after years of being called one. Her sacrifices paid off, though. In 1899, the government mandated each prefecture to create at least one girls' school. The next year, Ume left the Peeresses School to start a women's college open to all, and Sutematsu helped fund it. In 1919, a great flu epidemic ravaged Tokyo. Ume's health was already declining and had recently just resigned from running the school. Sutematsu faced a choice: flee the plague or look after the school. In the end, Sutematsu stayed behind to make sure the school continued. The day after she found a replacement, she awoke with a sore throat. She died 2 weeks later. Today, Japanese students often learn about Ume Tsuda, the public face of girls' education. But they rarely learn the name of the woman who fought for her, who journeyed alongside her, who gave her all. She is known by many names, but she must be remembered. She's truly a badass woman in history. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, hit the bell. You know what to do. Thanks for watching.